This is TWiT.
I don't know. Okay, so I have a Pixel 2 XL. Rose, what is your daily driver? What is your phone?
It's a Pixel 2.
Okay,
Pixel 2 XL was too big for my small hands.
I understand. I'm considering the 3 as opposed to the 3 XL. I don't know why. That seems to be the hip thing to do this turnaround because everybody hates the bezel or the bucket. Ron, you've got the Pixel 1, right?
I had the Pixel. I have the Pixel 1, and it crapped out on me. Oh. And then I switched to the OnePlus 6.
That's right.
And then the Pixel 1 came back to life. But I stayed on the OnePlus 6 because I've fallen in love.
All right. So is the OnePlus 6 is not on Pi yet, right?
Correct.
Okay, so then you wouldn't have got this. I'm curious to know if you did, Rose. My Pixel definitely got this. There was a battery saver mode that suddenly appeared last week on my phone, and I just kind of thought like kind of like a butt dial or whatever, like it was in my pocket and there was a phantom touch while I was just living my life and it activated battery saver mode. But apparently, no. Apparently, Google admitted on Reddit that it had made a mistake that said, quote, an internal experiment to test battery saving features was mistakenly rolled out to users, to more users than intended. And then people kind of got all upset about the fact that, hey, wait a minute, what? Google can do this? They can just like remotely activate modes on our phones? That's right. Or some other people would say that's not right. Rose, did this happen to you? And what do you think about it?
It actually, I don't know if it happened to me because what I've been doing lately is leaving my Pixel 2 on battery saver mode constantly because the battery really stinks lately.
So you've been doing this on purpose. So you don't know if Google did it to you or not because you probably already had it on anyways.
And it's too bad because I want to be even more outraged than I already am. But I am pretty outraged.
Okay, explain your outrage. Why are you so outraged?
Well, it's one of those things where people sort of tend to throw their hands in the air and say, well, Google just has a lot of control over my phone. But really, when you purchase a device, you should be able to own it in a real sense. And I think it's a consumer's right to demand in the strictest possible terms that this sort of thing isn't done. And then if it is, that there are consequences. But this was just sort of a whoopsie. Mm-hmm. And it's a whoopsie that made a lot of people uncomfortable. I think it made me uncomfortable as well.
I don't know why, but I just kind of assumed that this was possible, which is not to excuse it, or although maybe it sounds like it is. But when it happened, first of all, when it happened, I had no idea it was anything other than an accident on my part. But when I found out after the fact that it was an error, that that Google actually did this on multiple phones, like I thought it was kind of weird, but it didn't surprise me, I guess. Like I guess I'm not happy that Google has this ability to remote switch anything on my phone, but I'm not surprised that they do. But it is strange that it was an accident and that it happened. What were you going to say, Ron?
I don't understand why people are surprised or you're surprised. It's a connected device running an operating system by one of the largest software companies in the world. I mean, same thing when I open up Skype and then I close it and then it applies a patch and then I open it up and it looks completely different the next time I do it, right? Because these devices and because the phones are no different than our computers now, and because they're connected to the network and they're handshaking with some mothership, a change can happen. And Rose, I agree with you. I think that's a lot of responsibility that the companies have, and they need to be true to their users and not push something that goes against their will or something like that. But I'd be delusional to think that they didn't have the ability to do this.
Right, but I think there's a difference between like tweaking UI and then actually changing a setting. Like imagine if it's such a slippery slope. Like what if it was airplane mode that they popped on all of a sudden? I mean, I don't know if that is, who knows what actually happened in that room, but there are pretty serious consequences. And it's just one of those things that you don't want to, I don't think you want to be too complacent about it. I mean, it's just always good to keep these companies accountable for what they're doing. And we all know, like, I wouldn't say I'm surprised. Like we all know how much power that they have over us and our data, but there's stuff that we can sort of try and demand from them at the very least.
Yeah. No, I agree. I don't think they should be changing any settings like that at all. But when you think about it, your phone comes with settings set to default, so they've already put settings in place. Right. And so when they do an update, I'm not keeping track of every settings on my phone. That settings screen is it's to the point now where you need to search within settings to find things. Right. So
yeah, that's how I find things now. I just I plug in a search in the search box and settings. But that is a very good point. That's a very valid point, Rose, is like, what if it was do not disturb, and do not disturb suddenly switched on a bunch of phones, and when you're talking the numbers of Android users out there, even a small percentage of those users getting do not disturb turned on for an hour is a huge number of phones. So then you take that huge number of phones, and what is the percentage of those people that within that amount of time got a call or a text message of an urgent matter, a really urgent matter, someone, their kid got into an accident or who knows what it is, and they didn't get the chance to see it because a remote switch was activated, their phone was put into do not disturb mode, and all they saw on their notifications, though they didn't realize it, was absolutely nothing. Like that's serious consequence if that happened. Yeah. So I get it.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I'm not defending Google, or I'm not saying that this is a major screw up, and I don't want anyone changing the settings on my phone, much less the operating system. But I'm not surprised that it could happen. I'm surprised it took this long for it to happen, to be honest.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's probably fair. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised either. But I do think there's like once you get the settings, I feel as if you then tweak the phone to your liking, and it should essentially stay like that, and everything then should be permissions based. Mm-hmm. And if it's not, then this is a whole different situation. Then I'm going to start to think, okay, well maybe I should root my device and then flash it with some other custom software just to make it really mine. And I wonder if other people would also go that route.
Yeah, I am curious to know how many people it actually affected, because I know a lot of the reports that you hear are Pixel devices running Pi, but I think there were also some devices that were running Pi that weren't Pixel devices. So I'm curious to know how complete this actually was, but we may never know. Dun, dun, dun.